Coming up on this edition of Carolina Week, a spree of car thefts at Greek houses leave students without transportation or answers.
Are chemical plants required to notify nearby businesses and neighbors of potential dangers?
A unique local charter school has closed. We tell you what this means for students with disabilities. All that and more.
Carolina Week starts right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
What would you do if you walked out of your home to find your car had been stolen? Good evening, I'm Sharon Nunn.
And I'm Ben Smart. That's exactly what happened to 4 UNC students this weekend. A local man is under arrest, charged with multiple counts of breaking and entering, burglary, and larceny on or near UNC's campus. 20-year-old Keith Demetrius Wright of Durham is in the Orange County Jail under a $110,000 bond. The crime spree he is accused of committing has some in Chapel Hill wondering how they can protect their personal belongings. And our Maddie Gardner has been on this story for the past couple of days. Maddie, what have you learned?
Well, Ben, multiple break-ins, 8 Greek houses, 4 stolen cars, and all of this in just 7 days. The Chapel Hill police are still investigating what happened this week and why the person or people responsible targeted sorority and fraternity houses. 4 digits. That's all it takes to get inside the Beta Theta Pi house. It's a secret code few know, but that didn't stop one man from coming inside Friday night and leaving with the keys to Tyler George's car.
It's kind of weird, like not knowing where something you own is.
George says the doors were locked. The man probably got in the house by jumping up here, climbing through this window, grabbing his keys, and getting away with his car. Beta wasn't the only house. Keys and cars also disappeared at Alpha Tau Omega and Kappa Delta.
I think there's a likelihood that at least some of them are related.
Chapel Hill Police Lieutenant Joshua Meesemore says Greek houses are easy targets for criminals.
That places that have a large number of people coming and going at all hours is more likely to have those problems, a door or window left unlocked, and the criminals know that too, and so they seize the opportunity at that type of place.
For now, George's case is closed. His car was illegally parked in Durham and towed here. He picked it up Monday.
I wasn't there before.
With plenty of traces from an unapproved driver.
Went through it and there was a bunch of stuff that wasn't mine. There was a GPS, like a cell phone, a backpack, some shoes.
And from now on, he says he'll make sure his keys are out of reach.
It's always scary. Definitely try and lock our doors more and, just always kind of be on the lookout.
Now, Ben, I spoke with the president of Alpha Tau Omega, and he said that the brothers are very concerned. They're actually going to install security cameras both in and outside the house to make sure that this doesn't happen again. The suspect, Wright, was already on probation for past crimes.
And we're also learning that last night the university sent out an Alert Carolina email informing students about the break-in after Maddie called the police department with those questions. Thanks, Maddie.
Residents of Roseburg, Oregon are still grieving after 9 people died when a man opened fire on a community college campus there last week. There have been 45 shootings so far in the U.S. We spoke to UNC Public Safety to find out what UNC would do in a similar situation. CB Cotton is live in our studio.
Yeah, Sharon, we talked to public safety spokesman Randy Young, who said the response plans at UNC are, largely confidential for security reasons. But if a shooter were on campus, Alert Carolina would send an update to students, staff, and faculty, and the university siren would alert everyone in the area. Young said public safety officers go through regular and thorough training. They even apply the techniques they learn in live shooter drills, where they set up run-through scenarios. DPS will also train anyone who requests it to respond to an active shooter situation. Young said DPS ran a live shooter drill last month at Carolina North, and officers are confident in their ability to respond quickly to a violent individual on campus. Sharon?
That's CB Cotton live in our studio. Thanks, CB.
A campus staple is about to disappear for good. Drew Kurzman has the latest on its big technology change coming to UNC.
It's invisible all around us, and most students can't live without it. Now you might be thinking air, but we're actually talking about Wi-Fi. Here at Sitterson Hall, old computers like these behind me show that technology is always evolving, and campus networks are no exception.
Here at the ITS Manning Building on UNC's campus, engineers and technicians carefully monitor UNC's internet networks. Attention is critical because they're preparing for a major change. UNC Secure, the Wi-Fi network found across campus, is shutting down, and EduRoam is here to take its place. Short for Education Roaming, EduRoam is the new networking standard at 285 colleges and universities across the country. Once your device is configured to EduRoam, you can access the internet from any participating university, bypassing complicated configurations and setups.
If you are a university faculty or a student, the odds are very small that you're going to do all your work at the one university.
The new network is currently set up and running alongside UNC Secure, allowing time for students to transition. But on October 16th, UNC Secure shuts down for good, and Gogan worries that some students aren't getting the message.
We've sent email out to about 26,000 people that we've seen using UNC Secure, reminding them that UNC Secure is going to go away on October 16th. Poof, it's going to be gone, nothing.
As we see here, a significant portion of users still connect through UNC Secure. So if you're on campus, check your internet settings, connect to EduRoam, and have the power to access the internet at colleges and universities across the country. In Chapel Hill, I'm Drew Kurzman reporting.
And remember to check your wireless settings to make sure you're on the right network.
For the second time, Carolina can claim a Nobel Prize. Dr. Aziz Sencar of the UNC School of Medicine is the 2015 Nobel Prize winner for chemistry. Sencar and 2 other professors were recognized for their work in cellular DNA repair. This research has led to development of new cancer treatments.
It's been almost 10 years since an explosion at an Apex chemical plant forced thousands to evacuate. In the aftermath, legislators passed new laws to make things safer for people who live or work near these plants. I spoke with one local woman who had no idea she spends every day not far from a potentially hazardous chemical plant. Meet Julia Casey. She's a bartender at Biggie's Steakhouse in Raleigh.
I've been working here since the end of February.
After 8 months on the job, Casey was shocked to learn what's next door.
I wouldn't know nothing until people's faces started melting off. Like literally. I wouldn't know anything.
She's talking about the chemical plant just 900 feet from Biggie's back door. It's surrounded by trees and spans more than 600 acres. Behind this fence is a pharmaceutical plant in Raleigh, North Carolina. Their website says they manufacture both acetaminophen and paracetamol. In general, the Environmental Protection Agency requires chemical plants report their on-site chemicals only if they exceed certain thresholds. These minimum thresholds are listed in a document spanning 120 pages.
One of the loopholes in our reporting legislation on chemical reporting is the amount that has to be on site.
Professor Bill Gentry says he thinks any chemical amount should be reported.
In the scheme of things, those amounts don't make that much difference. If they're there, and they're an issue.
Water.
Casey says she wishes plant managers would have reached out to Biggie's Steakhouse.
They could have sent me a pamphlet, a letter, something, you know what I mean? It'd been nice if they'd have came over here with a little board like, hey, we're just letting you know we're over here, we could kill you, is that okay?
There was a small spill at that chemical plant, Mallinckrodt, in 2007. But Gentry says there are very few large-scale events each year across the U.S. Mallinckrodt didn't respond to several requests for comments about this story. A new campus club is mixing things up.
Find out how you can find your place on campus.
That's next.
Okay, sorry.
A recent Carrboro charter school's closing has caused an uproar from both students and parents. Mackenzie Bennett tells us why it closed and how it's hurting students with disabilities.
Everybody Hurts. That's the song Ramey Sorensen performed at Pace Academy in Carrboro before the school shut its doors. Pace Academy served many students like Ramey, who has autism. He remembers his teachers more than anything.
I like Caleb Smith, Chris Harmon, and Miss Kelly.
Pace Academy Charter School catered to special needs students before the State Board of Education closed the school in August for low test scores, poor attendance, and administrative issues. Now, Ramey's mom says her son has no other place to go.
I mean, he loved it. He loved being around other kids. He loved his teachers. He loved being at school and being given responsibility.
And Ramey isn't the only one. Noah Hernovich also went to Pace. Doctors diagnosed him with high-functioning autism. After Pace closed, his mom had no choice but to enroll him at his old public school, a place Noah never wanted to see again.
I'd probably get bullied again.
On one point where a boy actually physically threatened him with a sharp implement.
The closing of Pace reveals a problem, a lack of resources for special needs students.
In elementary school, students get the services they need, and they do pretty well in elementary school. But as kids get older, services tend to drop off.
One reason why Ramey's mom won't send him to a public school. She says he'll stick to vocational education and music at home. Singing this song in honor of other students just like him. In Chapel Hill, I'm Mackenzie Bennett reporting.
Mason says in times of funding shortages, special education programs often get cut first.
When was the last time you practiced your stop, drop, and roll? Well, if it's been a while, this week is the perfect time to brush up. The Chapel Hill Fire Department invites the community to celebrate National Fire Prevention Week by touring the station and learning more about fire safety. This year's message stresses the importance of having a working smoke alarm in every bedroom so that in the case that it rings in the middle of the night, you can hear it. Fire Prevention Week ends October 10th. A lot of Carolina students find their purpose on campus by surrounding themselves with people from similar backgrounds, joining groups like Black Student Movement or the Carolina Indian Circle.
Rosita Cox tells us one student felt like these groups didn't fully speak to who she is, so she created her own.
Swirl, like the ice cream blend. That's what Leona Amosa first thought of when trying to describe being biracial.
But there are a lot of students here like that who feel like they have to choose between one or the other, and we're hoping that through this, people can know that we exist here on campus.
After 3 years of not feeling like there was a place for her on campus, Amosa took her concerns to Facebook.
Saying, comment if you're biracial or multiracial or whatever.
She found that she was not alone. And a few months later, Amosa met up with other biracial and multiracial students for the first official meeting of UNC Swirl. The group is the first of its kind on campus.
They felt like here on campus, there are so many different cultural organizations that they can be a part of, but most of them focus on one specific identity.
The club will be discussion-based and will host panels and performances throughout the school year.
Hoping that we can create an awareness of these identities that we have here on campus. Like I said, I didn't feel like anyone was really aware of what it means to be biracial.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Rosita Cox reporting.
Amosa says you didn't have to identify as biracial or multiracial to join Swirl.
UNC is being honored for its diversity by Insight into Diversity magazine. The award recognizes colleges and universities that demonstrate an outstanding commitment to diversity and inclusion. UNC will be featured with other recipients in the magazine's November issue.
Planned Parenthood is a hot-button topic nationally, including here at UNC. A college bus tour to defund the program visited campus Tuesday. The bright pink bus travels around the country and allows pro-life students to stand against taxpayer funding of that organization. During the visit, supporters of Planned Parenthood rallied in front of Wilson Library. Students used the hashtag UNC stands with PP while promoting slogans such as this one that read, "Abortion is okay."
You can travel nearly 7,000 miles all without leaving campus. UNC's Building Tomorrow is hosting its 6th annual Bike to Uganda fundraiser this week. Students can pay to hop on a stationary bike and collectively bike the distance between Carolina and Uganda. The goal is to build and to raise funds for schools in East Africa. A 30-minute bike ride costs $5.
After more than a week of rain, the sun has finally reappeared.
How long will we be able to enjoy these summer-like temperatures?
Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Kat Campbell, and we've had yet another beautiful day here in Chapel Hill. Take a look at our temperature right now. We're sitting in the mid-70s, and our dew point is slowly dropping, and that means our humidity is going down a bit. So it's at 54% right now.
Very comfortable for this time of year, and our pressure is also rising. And this is great news, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. But first, we have the sun out again for the second day in a row. And boy, I thought we would never see the sun shine again after 12 consecutive days of rainfall here in Chapel Hill. It broke our previous record of 11 days, which was set in World War II. And to put this into perspective, over those 12 days, we saw 7.8 inches of rain here. And in September and October combined, on average, we usually see 7.9 inches. So over those 12 days, we saw almost as much rainfall as we see on average in 61 days. And I'd like to clarify what brought us all of that rain these past couple of weeks, and that's really not caused by Hurricane Joaquin. It was a threat at one point, but it came nowhere close to the Carolinas. It remained hundreds of miles off the coast. What did bring us all this flooding event to the Carolinas is this low pressure system in the upper atmosphere, which is what caused all that flooding, and that's totally separate from the hurricane. If the hurricane had hit, we could have expected winds over 100 miles per hour, a storm surge, and even some embedded tornadoes. So I'm just wanting to point that out so you know how to adequately prepare for a hurricane in the future here. But luckily, all that moisture is finally moving out of the area, and we have high pressure dominating, and that's a good thing because when the air sinks in high pressure, it can't rise to the upper atmosphere to cool and condense and form clouds. So that's why we're seeing these nice and beautiful sunny skies out there. And we'll have clear skies through tonight as well. You may even be able to see some stars, which you haven't been able to see in quite some time. We'll have just a light breeze and temperatures in the mid-50s, so a bit brisk, but beautiful fall-like weather here. A perfect night to go outside and have a nice bonfire there. And tomorrow we'll have continued high pressure dominating our region, and that means we'll have beautiful sunny skies throughout the day. But I'd like to point out this cold front that's sitting just to our north, that's slowly going to inch towards us, and overnight Friday into early Saturday, we're going to see some scattered showers associated with that cold front, unfortunately. Rain will return, but it won't be as widespread as it was before. Now for tomorrow, we won't see that rain just yet. We'll have nice sunny skies again. 8 a.m. temperature should be in the upper 50s, and then by lunchtime warming up to the 70s. But take a look at our 5 o'clock temperature. It's 20 degrees warmer than what it was at 8 a.m. So for our fashion forecast, I call for wearing some nice fall-like layers. I recommend wearing shorts and a t-shirt or a nice summer sundress because it's really going to feel a lot like summer out there. But take a look at our high temperature. It'll be in the upper 70s there, so make sure you have a sweater in the morning because it'll be cool in the morning in the 50s, but it'll warm up quickly so you can take off that sweater. But if you thought 79 was pleasant, take a look at our Friday temperature. 80 degrees returns to the area. Beautiful weather out there on Friday. And then once that front passes through by Saturday, we'll cool down quite a bit to the upper 60s. And then the rain will come early Saturday, though it should clear up by Saturday evening. And then we'll slowly start to warm up and have sunny skies to the start of next week.
Wildcat, so 12 days of consecutive rain, all while Hurricane Joaquin missed our shores?
Yeah, I mean, just think of how much worse it could have been if we had that rain and then we had Joaquin hit us afterwards with even more flooding and rain associated with that.
I'm just happy my umbrella is finally at home and not with me.
Yeah,
Thanks
you get
so
the
much,
sunglasses.
Back. Just because football has the week off doesn't mean other kinds of football aren't busy. Find out if the Heels could stymie the Seahawks.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Kendra Douglas with sports. The second-ranked men's soccer team is off to its best start in program history after taking on 18th-ranked UNCW last night. Zach Wright opened up the scoring with this knuckleball past the goalkeeper off a sweet header from Tucker Hume. Heels up 1-0. Later in the first half, watch David October dribble up the field and lay it off to Wright, who slides it up to the net. Heels up 2-0. Last fast forward to the second half, Allen Wynn bends the ball over the keeper's head. A brilliant shot by Wynn right there, giving the Heels a 3-0 win against the Seahawks. Heels remain undefeated and are now 9-0-1. The women's soccer team is heading down to Tallahassee this weekend for a 1 versus 2 showdown against the defending national champions, Florida State. The Seminoles are on a 17-match home winning streak. FSU is also 11-0-2 in its past 13 ACC matches, with one of those draws coming against UNC last season. Carolina's defense needs to watch out for the Seminoles' potent offense. So far this season, Florida State has outscored its opponents 35-6. Carolina has 34 goals to 5 allowed. Just because the football team doesn't have a game this weekend doesn't mean the Heels aren't making gains. Our Jordan Black shows us what's on the menu for these Tar Heels.
The Tar Heel nutrition staff has meal planning down to a science, a system of dots, signs, tests. It's all in an effort to ensure that the team is fueled on game day. Kelsey Gomez's day revolves around football and food.
As they're coming in, I'll start to check in with them to see how their weights are doing.
And then she continues monitoring players throughout breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Caesar salad?
Determining what they must eat to gain, lose, or maintain their weight.
And so we have a unique dot system that is in here with red dots, meaning they're like our heavy or for our hard gainers, and then our green dots, which are going to be more of our lean options. So I'll make sure everything's labeled correctly.
Green dots are the focus of linebacker Shaquille Rashad, who has cut 20 pounds since his position changed to outside linebacker.
And this year I had to get down to like 230, so it was pick vegetables, fruits, coconuts, whatever this is, and just eat more of that so I can lose weight and kind of be lighter for my new position.
The players receive 3 meals a day from their dining hall to training table, snack bags for gaining weight, and protein supplements from their fueling station.
Shakes are going to be more of our weight gain.
And when the Heels have success with the food pyramid, they find success on the field. After a Saturday win, the team puts aside the dot system to enjoy a victory dinner. Last week's came complete with crab legs.
I thought it was very good. I kind of disregarded what Kelsey's little voice in my head a little bit, because I would enjoy it.
Enjoying, but still working hard. This scientific eating method sure seems to be paying off. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jordan Black reporting.
Wow, did you see all that? At this level, it's very important for these guys to keep up with their nutrition and hydration.
And did you see how large those plates were? I can't imagine how many calories were in just one of those.
It takes a lot of food to keep those guys going.
Exactly.
Thanks, Kendra. Coming up next, Tar Heel students take pride in being some of the best and brightest students in the country.
So what can we say about our professors? For the 15th consecutive year, U.S. News and World Report has ranked UNC the 5th best public school in the nation. And that's not the only top ranking Carolina has earned lately. Anik Joseph says UNC now can claim some of the most well-liked professors in the country.
You're going to get a B, no matter how much work you put into the class. If you're okay with that, she's not a bad prof to have. That's me.
That's Professor Lois Boyton. She's reading what students wrote about her on a popular professor rating site.
She tries to be funny. Sometimes she is, sometimes she isn't.
Boyton understands that inevitably some posts will be negative.
It is what it is, and it's very opinion-based.
The website is Rate My Professors. Students can find the professor and university they want to evaluate. Then rate their professors on qualities such as helpfulness, clarity, and easiness. Rate My Professor says UNC is the 5th best university in the nation based on academics, campus life, and average professor ratings.
The entire advertising department is pretty hard. That's funny. There's a reason you have to have a certain GPA to get into the school. I said, there it is.
Professor Joe Bob Hester hasn't looked at the site for about 6 years. He's come to the conclusion that
people either love you or hate you kind of thing.
Boyton admits sometimes she takes comments personally.
Oh yeah, I'm very sensitive, and you may have 99 great comments and 1 negative, and the one you will hang on is the negative one.
But Boyton says it's not her job to be liked.
Personally, I'm not necessarily teaching courses that are easy and you're always going to get a good grade on it. So does that mean I'm not likable? So you have to weigh it within a context of the bigger picture.
So for UNC to be ranked so highly, many students are looking at the bigger picture. In Chapel Hill, I'm Anik Joseph reporting.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Thanks so much for watching and have a good night.